And we back on my channel. Hey guys, welcome back to Watch Your Mouth Reviews. This is your boy James, where I am here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. And it ain't gonna happen this video, but you know what? Hey, y'all here for the entertainment part of it, right? So that's what we gonna do. And I couldn't do this alone. Joining me as always is my girl, Mrs. Beth. Y'all say what's up to her.
Hello. Like and share the video. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Like the video, subscribe, tell a friend, y'all share the video. Make sure they come on over here to watch on my reviews so we can tell them what the popping is because we always pop it. Shout out to my girl Jim Bunny that was here before we even went live, y'all. This episode was spectacular. Spectacular is an interesting word to use because it was very sad, very terrible, terrible, old
Hey,
generational.
sad and terrible make good TV. I agree. Spectacular. This
Oh no,
show is
Carlos,
doing
yeah.
good.
Yeah, Cardinals got him a winner with this one. This one I actually like. I like the. I wasn't doing that. I was more so pissed off at the TV. But Cardinals got him a good hit with this one. Carlos, you got gold with this one. I'm telling you, you got gold. This one triggered every emotion that I had. I was mad. I felt bad for people. I'm gonna tell you like this, y'all. Nicole, pretty much on this point, is the MVP for me. I respected her a lot more than I thought I was going to because I really thought she was the problem. Monet, for the most part, she didn't scare it over to my bad side, and I didn't think she would. I didn't think she would, but she did. So let's get on into this episode because we got a lot to talk about. Get y'all something to drink, get y'all something to eat because you in for a show, baby. I'm telling you. Uh, yeah, we finna get into that one.
I
We finna
love
get into
that.
that one. Yes,
Toothless, not homeless. If you know, you know.
right. I love that. So we left off on a cliffhanger. And the cliffhanger was had Aunt Jackie never came to get me, was Bubba ever going to come and get me? And it was Aunt Nikki for me. This is the one time I'm gonna give Aunt Nikki because Aunt Nikki's piped up and her said very clearly, no, he wasn't going to come and get you if Jackie hadn't came and got you. And Joy was like, well, how would you know that? And Jackie said, because you didn't even want her to come to my house. And Keisha stood up and was like, oh, well, there you have it. And everybody at the table is going back and forth. And here go Monet. See, y'all need to let him be a father. See, if y'all would let him, because he has a wife, y'all need to let him be a father to his, and maybe he would have if you would have given him a chance. And I said, oh no, oh no, oh no. Wrong road, wrong road. Because let's make something clear before we go any further into this foolishness. Monet, Aunt Jackie picked up Keisha when she was 7 years old. 7 years old. So that had meant that your father had a chance between birth up until 6 years, 363 days to go and get your sister and bring her home to y'all so y'all can build that relationship for that time of her life. And your point is that you said let the married couple discuss it in their household when you just heard your aunt say that your mama didn't even want her to come to my house. That clarifies to me that your mother didn't want your father in his daughter's life in any shape, way, or form because it would make her feel a certain kind of way. Period, point blank. I don't want to hear anything else. Because how do you go 7 years and not pick up your daughter one time? And I don't really fault Joy so much because Bubba should have been the man that said, no, I'm gonna go get my baby. I'm sorry. She just going either you can leave or I can leave and I can take the other two kids with me, but I'm gonna go get my baby. Sorry. And ain't going this is not what I signed up for. This is not why I married you. You knew this baby was here because you guys, they were not married when Nicole or Keisha were born. They were not married. So you knew that he had this baby. You still married him anyway. And you now want to keep him abandoned from his, you want him to abandon his child until his sister went and got her. And then that made the situation okay. That is insane to me. And so at this point, and everyone's yelling and screaming at each other. You had Jaquita and Jermisha telling Monet not to yell at their mom. You had Nicole trying to calm the situation down. Aunt Jackie, they said this is not like her to get upset like this. She's screaming. Keisha's had enough, and she tells everybody to shut the fuck up. And she said it with conviction, where everybody went quiet. And see, I'm gonna make this funny a little bit. That let me know that Keisha whooped somebody's ass, and y'all all saw it.
Yep.
Keisha whooped somebody
ass. Everybody
even
got quiet.
And I was waiting for our Nick.
And in Black household, James, I know in my household, my family, Southern as hell, they from New Orleans, they would have said, baby, I know you're not talking to me. You're going to go find yourself upside the head with something. That's how my family would have told me. They got quiet. So I'll never say that to my elders. I'd be jumped. I would be straight.
Let me tell you, my mom would have threw that water bottle at Lakeisha's head. Like, it wouldn't even have.
Right, whatever's in sight. You get your ass whipped with.
As soon as the shut the fuck came out, my mom would have threw that water bottle at her head. Like, when I tell y'all, yes, no, that's not what it is. I mean, yes, this is what it is. Absolutely. Yeah. This is what it is. But at the same time, when Lakeisha told everybody to shut the fuck up and everybody got quiet, y'all saw her she was somebody's ass. I don't know who it was. Somebody got it. And y'all saw what she can do.
It's one of the sister cousins.
I don't know who it was. I don't really want to know. But the only time I've ever seen family get quiet is because you know what she's capable of. And y'all know y'all can't handle it. And she really ain't got that much attachment. Anybody can get it. Pretty much. That's how I'm looking at it. So Frank over there eating. This is not Frank. Larry. Larry over there eating. That's Nicole's husband. So he's like, oh no, they fighting. I'm about to cut out. And Nicole is getting upset. But as Nicole's getting upset, Aunt Jackie's just had it. She squirted that water all over the place. Aunt Nikki had to go get her. She said, I knew this wasn't going to be right. I knew this conversation wasn't going to go right. And so they take her in the house. They take her into the bedroom. And she goes, I told you, Nikki, this wasn't going to be right. And here come Bubba sitting over there with his mouth open talking about, what's going on out there? What they talking about? And it was Cheryl. Cheryl was like, they talking about you and this whole situation. And he goes, what situation? He goes, the situation with your daughter and everything. He goes, oh, get on up. We didn't, Jackie ain't had no right going to go get my daughter from there. And he goes, I wasn't even married. And Jay said, we know you weren't married. Your wife don't know that you weren't married. And when he told Cheryl, you should have had some kids. You should have had some kids because Joy ain't got to accept her. That's not her daughter. And I was like, oh, Lord. I said, sir, you are wrong. You are 110% wrong. So that leads me to believe that Joy told you she's not going to accept this daughter that you had outside of her. And you can't accept her either. Something tells me that she said that. So Cheryl's had enough. She's had enough to hear. Jackie was like, you wrong for that. Like, you don't tell nobody that. She has to accept it because she married you. And so Lakeisha and Nicole, Monet, and Joy walk in the house. And Lakeisha's like, no, don't you yell at her because she did what you were supposed to do. You were supposed to be my father. And out of nowhere, Joy tells everybody to shut the hell up in the house. And I said, wait a minute, where the fuck that come from? Now, granted, everybody was laughing. But man, don't walk in no house telling everybody to shut up because you are married to the family. You ain't even family. But they still respect you. Child would have been me. So he grabs her and said, hey, you be quiet. And she goes, I'm not going to be quiet. And Nicole comes and said, Mama, please let this go. Let this go. And it did. That shit was funny as hell. But once, the conversation shifted, once again, this is where Bubba becomes loud and wrong. He goes, I paid child support for 18 years. And I said, oh my God. What did fucking do, sir? You paid your obligation, but where were you at? is what we're talking about. We're not talking about the money that you gave to her mama so her mother can raise her in your absence. We are talking about where were you in the bonding of your daughter between 7 and 18 when she needed you. That's what we're talking about. So he's just so everyone's yelling. It is getting heightened. You got the men getting involved. They trying to calm the situation down and also being antagonistic. You got Nicole. She is just drenched in tears. And she just says, wait a minute, enough is enough. This is my sister. And she gonna be here. And this is not okay because Papa would want none of this. This is my sister and she's going to be here. And I was like, I felt for her. I wanted to hug her in that moment. But I'm like, the problem with her and Monet, I want them to understand something. This really doesn't have anything to do with your mama. This has everything to do with your father not taking responsibility for the child he made when he got your mother and that other lady pregnant with Keisha and Nicole, and the fact that he was an absent father but chose to stay in the house with your mother and raise you two. That's what we're talking about here. So, I honestly I think that a lot. I do. Because something is wrong with Bubba. Like something is really, really not right up there. So, Mrs. Best, how did you feel about this opening scene with all this family and all this mayhem and foolishness?
It's sad because you could tell they real family and some stuff went down, but Bubba is the only son, and it is not uncommon for the only son, especially in Black households, to end up spoiled and stupid. And that's exactly what Bubba is at 74 years old, spoiled and stupid. And I agree with what Jen Bunny is saying. It does seem like the parents, the grandparents, Oscarine and them, raised Nicole and them. You can tell just by Nicole being able to talk to Oscarine and get her to agree to some type of deal. She kind of treats her more like a daughter than a granddaughter. So it is given that, because Joy is a problem. Joy is a problem. She's insecure. She never got over it. But in addition to being insecure, I think her neurotransmitters is effed up. Something's wrong with her. Okay. And Bubba is delayed. The lights are on, but there's not always somebody home. And he desperately needs a dentist. And he's the only son, so I feel like he's spoiled. I feel like Joy is accustomed to living off of what he gets from the parents. I feel like she uses the situation against it. And that lady is just as much a piece of shit as he is, because how are you going to punish a child for existing? How are you going to do that? Even Bubba said, I wasn't married. Like, I'm really disgusted with them. Every family has their flaws, but Bubba, he is really just the epitome of the embarrassment of a Black man. This is ridiculous. They got to figure it out.
They do, because at the end of it, Keisha is the only one that's suffering here. And what I would have respected out of Monet is what Nicole did. Nicole chose her sister in this moment, because that is wrong, regardless of whether or not you feel like your mother was vindicated in her feelings of your father having another child with another woman and having to be able to integrate that and finding room for that to happen. And that's why I felt like, she's saying she's on the side of her mother, but it's like, ma'am, you don't have to choose a side in this at all. And if you are going to choose a side, you choose the side of your sister, because she's the one that's suffering. She's the one that did not come around, because if your father wanted to work that out, it wouldn't have taken him 7 years when his sister went and got her to integrate her in the family. It wouldn't have taken that. He wasn't going to get that baby. He wasn't going to go get her. And I think we need to stop.
And Joy has some nerve, because had he chosen to be with Keisha's mom, you could have been the woman in the situation with the child that grew up fatherless. And what's funny is the karma is you got stuck with the man that I don't think she truly won't, but stays with for convenience.
Mm-hmm.
You got stuck with his ass, and he wasn't a good father to the girls that was in the house with him. Relationship strained with the babies he lived with too. So It's like she's holding on to all this anger and resentment towards Keisha
Mm-hmm.
when her husband wasn't even a good father to her own kids, but she's so caught up in her own ego. It's really sad. And then to allow her children to get involved. I agreed with Jaquita, y'all. Monet, you are the youngest. Shut the fuck up and put the cigarette out. Okay. You don't know what was going on.
Right. And regardless of how you feel about them being your parents, they're not perfect. They're not perfect. And I'm sorry. It is one of those situations where I feel like your mother had a lot of influence on why he didn't have a relationship with Keisha from 0 to 7. I really do. I feel like that. I feel like she felt away. And I'm sure the next episode next week is going to clarify my statement. But it feels like she felt away about it and, punished him by saying, "You're not going to be with that baby." Because they never did. So it's just what it is. Why she's so hot with Jaquita? Because Jaquita about it. Didn't finna disrespect her mama in her presence. And Monet was doing the most. Monet was, even when she was walking away. I remember when she walked away. That's what guilty people do when they guilty. When she made that little comment, it was like, oh my gosh. I will impose violence against women under any circumstances, but I would not
She
have been
needed to be
mad.
popped in the mouth.
Yes, I wouldn't have been mad if Keisha or somebody else didn't just pop her real quick just for doing that. Just because that's not what the circumstance is. That lady, Aunt Jackie ain't got nothing to be guilty of. She
No,
went
you
and got
seen
the
the
niece.
people though holding Jaquita back? That's another sign. I think
Mm-hmm.
Jaquita and Keisha will whip
Yeah,
somebody's ass.
yeah. But I'm just saying, it was just disappointing. She disappointed me because I felt like that it was going to be Nicole that was going to do this. But the fact that it was her, and Business Best, you
I
called it the
didn't.
first episode. You called it the first episode.
Monet is messy. I knew I could sense it. I could sense it. I don't know why. I'm just good at sensing females. That's why I be looking at them, especially the messy ones
Yeah.
at work. Go away from me with that.
And that's another point that, yes, because she said that out her mouth. Thank you, Jim Bunny, because she said that she's supposed to be the sister that's close to Lakeisha. But you're okay with the fact that your father abandoned her and then waited to get in her life when your aunt went and got her. Okay, Monet. Okay.
At the end of the day, nobody can compare Keisha's abandonment to anything. That trumps all.
Right.
And Monet don't see that. I want her to be quiet. You were not the baby that was had out of wedlock. You were not the baby that was involved in the scandal. Be quiet and support your sisters. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes. So moving on from this thing, is there anything you want to add, Mrs. Best, before I move on? Because we have spent 20 minutes on this already and we ain't even in halfway through the review yet.
Mm-mm.
Yes. So let's go ahead and move on. So it is the next day, and Jermisha's at her house cleaning up, and she just said that what happened yesterday was not supposed to happen like that, and she feels for Keisha, but she also felt for her mother in in the same instance because her mother is her. Her mother was only doing the right thing that she felt, which is going to get her niece so she could be integrated into the family because that's what their family is all about. And she mentions that her mother is also very hurt for Keisha in this instance because this revealed something that Keisha probably felt and just validated that feeling. So I think from Jermisha's point of view, they don't want Keisha to feel like because Bubba made and Joy made the decision to ostracize her until she was integrated family by someone else, that's how they all feel. She wants her to know that she feels love. Mrs. Best. Lord Jesus.
She better
I can't.
shake it on over. I want to know what's wrong with your
So
son.
I want to know that too, actually. Now that you say it like that, I want to know too, because for me, it's just crazy that this is where this was. Y'all weren't like a family that was where he didn't have access. Like he could have easily did this. Anyways, y'all, we have a scene with Nicole. She's still very emotional because she also feels for Keisha in this moment because of what was revealed, and how, at the same time of that being her mother and father, her heart breaks for her, because at the same time, that's not how she's supposed to find out this kind of information, or that's not the way that that was supposed to be compelled. But my thing with Nicole in this whole situation, if it's the truth, it's the truth. Your mother didn't want her around. Period, point blank. Because if she did, she would have stepped up and said, "No, go get that baby and bring her here. You did it. I married you. I'm accepting that baby. Go get the baby. We will work something out with the mama. Go get the baby." Because y'all, let me tell you something. If I'm married with somebody and they decide to have a baby before I get married, and I forgive them, that baby belongs to me too. Sorry, that's how I work. That baby belongs to me too. I don't care who he had it with. I don't care who Michael B. Jordan had the baby with. That baby belongs to me too. We gonna be the trifecta. We gonna work it out. Going to ballet, soccer practices, whatever. Thanksgiving, Christmas will be at our house. You can help me cook. We gonna get it together, and we gonna be one big happy family. Because that's what you're supposed to do in these situations. Kids didn't do anything. They don't deserve to be ostracized. So hey HK, thank you for joining us. Yeah. Um, oh Lord Jesus, it's storming over here. Sorry guys, I made you lose reception a little bit. Monsoon starting to hit. But moving on from there. The next thing we're going to talk about is Nicole going bike riding with, I keep on calling him Frank. His name is Larry. With Larry and their daughter Peyton. They're going bike riding and they stop. And Larry said, "Look, I'm sorry. I had to cut out. I had to come home. I took some melatonin. I didn't even know when you even got home." And Nicole was like, "Look, if there was ever a time I needed you, that was the time, because that was so emotionally draining. Like, even right now, I don't feel okay." And oh Lord Jesus, but I would tell you that man just looks just stone. I'm like, girl, did you attract your daddy into this man? Like, I'm trying to figure. Do y'all? Am I the one who feels like Nicole found her father in Larry? Someone else chime in. Mrs. Best, do you feel that way? Because that's what I was getting. That's what I was getting.
Yes and no. He doesn't seem too interested in it, which is kind of like a sign. And they seem to disagree on a lot. There's a lot of issues, in my opinion, in that marriage, though. So, because it's like if I'm hurt by something, my husband be hella worried, will drop everything to figure out what's going on. Like that, exactly, Jen. He didn't seem interested in it at all. It's like if you are actively in love with your wife, to see her hurt is gonna cause or invoke some type of emotion in you yourself. Or you gonna try and fix it. I mean, hell, I don't know. That's what my man do. If I cry, he'd be like, "Who did it? Who I gotta find?" I'm like, "Relax." But
Right.
it shows some type of care. This man did not give a flying, you know what? Not
The
boss
boss
hog.
ball. But here's the thing, and this is my thing about this. You don't leave my family function and not check on me, and I make sure I'm okay before you decide to go out and leave. Like, honestly, I don't want to say that, because I don't want to put on Nicole like who she should be with, or
She can though.
definitely.
She really can.
Yeah, no, definitely, she's out of his league, absolutely. But, I feel like she didn't get somebody that was emotionally available, like her father. That's why I'm making the references. Because at the moment that she was emotional, he wasn't available. He was gone. He had went home, leaving her there to cry it out. And then he said that he didn't know she even came home because he was on melatonin. So even when she got home, he wasn't emotionally available. So that's why I'm saying it seems like she attracted Bubba in to Larry, because they seem like they are the same persons when it comes to the emotional stability. Now, the other parts, maybe not so much. Maybe he is more, a parent than Bubba is. He got his own, he works, he does everything. But that's what I'm seeing. That's what I noticed when they were having that conversation. So it was kind of disheartening, because I don't like to see Nicole in this emotional, fragile place, because you could tell that, the family does not argue like this, or they don't really have these deep found conversations. But you know what? The way I see it is, y'all shouldn't have came on reality TV, because that shit was going to come up one way or another. What'd you say, Jim Bunny? Right, because that situation was getting intense. He scrolled out like Scooby Doo in the Mystery Machine. He sure did. That man cut the fuck out of Dodge. He said, I ain't trying to listen to these girls bickers. I'm going home. That's what he said when he was walking out. So I was like, well, damn. You ain't gonna tell Nicole you leaving? You're not gonna tell. Okay. It couldn't be me, but okay. you know, it was crazy. It was crazy to watch that. I ain't gonna lie. So, is there anything you want to add to that scene before we move on to the next thing?
No, I agree with everything you've been saying.
All right. So the next thing we have is Lakeisha and Caramel. They go out to this coffee shop, and Caramel basically just recaps the conversation, and she was pretty much asking Lakeisha how she feels about the whole situation. And Lakeisha was like, it's basically information that I already felt, so it was just validated in words this time. Caramel said, it hurt me when your father said that Joy did not have to accept you. My heart just broke right there in that moment. And I'm looking like, yeah, that was tough for anybody to hear. And I just feel like recapping this conversation, y'all do this a lot to Keisha. Everybody does. They did it first with, when it came to her mother, when they kept saying her mother died. Now here you go along talking about the situation and rehashing it. I get we're on camera. So they have to do it. Like I'm not blind to that. But it's just like, dang, like, ugh, like I wouldn't want to rehash that at all. So she then turns, to say that in the situation with Nicole, she was happy that Nicole stood up for her because Lakeisha said that it felt good. The wall that they have is starting to come down because Nicole's never taken up for her before. So it felt good to hear her say that because Keisha said in the midst of the argument with this family that the one person she wanted to run to, she couldn't. And my heart broke for her. Nancy, my heart broke for Keisha in a lot of this episode because it just felt like she's the lone wolf and everybody is kind of like coming at her. You have some that love on her, but they're not really, you know, instilled with it. It's kind of like yeah, we're gonna defend you because you didn't ask for any of this. But it's like at the same time, y'all are not confronting the two people that are really enhanced. The aunties are, but not everybody else. And I think that that's what she needs. So, how did you feel about this sit down with her and Karen?
Well, I just like to tell everybody, I hate to be this way, y'all, but Caramel's voice, that bitch voice get on my last nerve. It make my teeth itch. Something about the sound of her voice just stresses me out. I feel for Keisha. I feel for her. I really do. I think she's handling all of this stress well. Uh, but if I was her, I wouldn't talk to my daddy. I'd have to give him the silent treatment for some time. Hell. But yeah, I don't trust Caramel. I don't know if anybody else sense it. I feel like Caramel is a gold digger on the low. She's munching for carpet with a purpose. And that's how I feel.
Ooh. Okay. I have nothing further to say on this thing, so we gonna move on. So the next thing we see is that Jaquita and Jermisha go over to Nicole's house. They haven't talked to her. They haven't seen her since the whole crawdad boil or crawfish boil, whatever that shit was. Yeah, it's giving authentic from Carmel. Where the hell's Carmel? Cameron's real name. They say that is her.
Ain't no way that's her real name. Ain't no way he's laughing. My nana used to say that. I'm trying to tell you, she irritates me. But Caramel, I don't think that's her real name. It's like a stripper name. Because who looks at a baby and calls it Caramel?
Yeah. Also, Beth, get your wife. Get your wife. I'm telling. Get your wife.
Do your
I'm
job.
just saying. Oh Lord Jesus.
He
So
told me to behave.
not her stripper name. Okay, y'all cut that out now. We gotta talk about the rest of the scene. So they go over to Nicole's house. I was cracking up with Nicole poured that little bit of prosecco into Jaquita's glass. I was hollering. I said, "Not you pouring a little bit," because she said, "I ain't trying to hear her today." So they check on her and they ask her, how she feels and everything. I'm not gonna rehash it. I'm just gonna tell the real reason why they came over here. But so they talk about the whole lot and them trying to pitch to Granny one last time and that she's going to have it, at their center. And she said she did talk with Keisha. Keisha actually helped her set up the tables and chairs and everything. And Nicole's like, yeah, I've talked to her. We've been checking on each other, which is, good. That's a good thing because at least they're, still there for one another, even though Nicole's both her mother and father are at the odds with this whole situation. So I'm glad that she's, going past that and still trying to be there. But in regards to the whole situation, Nicole says she just wants the family to get along. Like she goes, this is not how we are, and she wants to get to a place where everyone's just loving on each other and everything. And you can tell this is really affecting Nicole in a deep way. And she even starts crying with the girls, and she was like, "Dang, I'm crying again," and one situation. But as far as that meeting goes, she says that Aunt Nikki called her and said that Granny's no longer on board and she just wants to sell. So Jermisha is making it her, perseverance almost to make sure that this happens, still with Granny not being on board. And I still feel like it's a great idea. I do. I still feel like this whole logic, they're not looking at it long term. And I think because we have to consider Granny's age. Granny also had a health scare. So, this is going to be a long term thing. And, like they said, Papa said the G2s was supposed to get the land anyway. And I wish he would have put that shit in writing because we wouldn't be going through this right now, with the land and everything. So, yeah, it does seem like she knows what she wants, but I think she wants it in a way where it's only going to be short term. Because yes, you can sell the land, pay off all of your kids' mortgages and everything, but where does it go from there? Is where we're trying to say. Yes, you have other businesses, but land never depreciates. It just doesn't. So it's like, ugh, I want them to hold on to it. I do. Um, the next thing we look at is Jaquita. She shows her cousin on her father's side a nice little duplex. It was very nice. Is there anything you want to add to that? Because I'm going to skip over this scene, Mrs. Best.
Not really. I think they need
Yeah.
to let it go with the proposal, but
Hmm. Yes. So after Jaquita shows the cousin house, seems like he's on board to buying it. Then Nicola and Monet go to this potential house listing that could be estimated to $4 million, and it's a beautiful luxury home. It was definitely a little my taste. I love the home. I don't like the layout as much, but the home was beautiful. All it was missing was a pool. So I'm laughing at that because I remember he said this neighborhood like is sketchy, and I was when they showed the houses, I was like, oh shit. But gentrification will definitely get that up and running. It's coming all over the place. But back to Monet and Nicole, they look at the house, they try to sell and pitch themselves to the manager or whoever that guy was that was, you know, getting prospected for them to sell the home. So after that is done, they go out there and Monet and Nicole have a conversation. And pretty much they were like, this is, she hasn't, Monet said she hasn't talked to anybody. She, was feeling a way about Jaquita stepping up when she was yelling at Aunt Jackie. She don't know what that was about. And I was looking at Monet like, okay, here we go. Mrs. Vest, this is where you take over because I can. This is where you take over because I'm just like, I can't wait on it.
Monet, you defend your mama 10 toes down when it's an outsider. When it comes to your family, especially your sister, you hold people accountable appropriately. That's the one safe space where you can do that. This isn't just a random person in the public who's disrespected your mom. Your mom is wrong. And you were not old enough to understand what was going on. By this time, your parents had gotten married and you was an infant. The only thing that you know is what your mother has told you. And I'm sure that she is only telling you a very biased side of things. So say nothing at all, but your mama wrong. She was telling people to shut the F up and hollering and not listening to her toothless husband. I mean, it was a mess. It was truly a mess. So, then you come for, it sounds like Jaquita and Jermisha's mom is the sweet one, the one who's kind to everyone, open arms, loving. So it's kind of like, why are you disrespecting your auntie like this? She was disrespectful as hell. Monet needs to just figure out how to grow in the rest of her eyebrows. And she needs to figure out how to enunciate better when selling houses, especially if she wants to sell luxury homes. Other than that, be quiet. Please be quiet, Monet. Please be quiet. Go.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself because there's nothing like that I feel is worse in a situation than somebody who don't know what the hell they talking about and is mad over nothing. Y'all need to cut this out. 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 I'm not doing this with y'all today. I'm trying to make my point.
I didn't mean to say it so casually, but he lacked teeth.
You know, what I want Monet to do is to grow up. At the end of the day, grow up. Because, first of all, as they say, you were a kid. Nicole was a kid. You weren't even born. So you shouldn't have any input in this at all. But the fact that you mad at Jaquita because she told you to stop yelling at her mama, which you were doing, you were loud and wrong. And anybody's going to say stop yelling because they weren't yelling at your mama. And she was all the way wrong. They weren't yelling
Defend
at
your
your mama.
mom, but you don't need to you can defend your mom without disrespecting your other elders. And she know
Right.
better than that, especially being raised in the South. I know she know better than that. She was wrong. See, in my family, you yell at my mama like that. Oh, I'm taking off on you. I don't care. I remember my little brother yelled at my mama like he was crazy one time. I picked up his Nike and knocked him upside his head. You don't do that. Not in black families. No. So Monet is really lucky that she kept her weave together. She's real lucky. Hell.
Yeah, because I was just waiting. I was just waiting for Aunt Jackie to snatch it. I really was, or Aunt Nikki or somebody. I was waiting for one of them just to just tug at it because I'm telling you, she was doing the most. Them slick comments and the fact that she felt entitled enough to put in her 2 cents on a situation she wasn't even born to see. So I'm like, no, get her off my screen. I hate I have to be like this because I actually was feeling Monet for a little bit, but now she didn't turn it all the way off. It's like, nope, sorry, baby, you ain't got
Just
no
hold
chance.
your mom accountable so everybody can move on.
All she had to say was, "Mama, that still wasn't right. He still abandoned her for 7 years." Like all she had to say was, "He still abandoned her for 7 years. We had to wait till she was 7 for us to get to know her." And she knew her mom would look bad on TV. Well, she looked worse. So what's even? So what's even like? Your image or your mama image, because both y'all grown. Your mama grown. You grown. Like, what's worse? There was nothing done to you. And this is the thing I want. This is what I don't understand. Nobody was yelling at Joy and telling Joy that she was wrong for what she did. And nobody pointed the finger at her, putting her at any fault for this. Nobody at that table did it, not even her husband. Nobody held that lady accountable. They just looked at her like she was crazy. So I don't know what Monet was defending. What were you defending? Nobody said Joy was wrong because she could have encouraged her husband to go pick up that baby, or no one said Joy was wrong because she was sitting up there and she knew that man had another baby. Instead of her, opening that baby with open arms, no one said that to her at all. So I don't know what Monet was defending. I don't. Like, if someone can tell me what she was defending, then I would change my mind and perspective. But I don't see what she was defending or her
The
father.
only thing
You
that
can't
was
defend.
said at that table was when the auntie got mad and was like, Joy did not want that child in her house. But that is not, it sounds like she just doesn't want certain things to come out about her mom on camera, from what I'm seeing, because it doesn't make sense. And every time something is dropped that makes the mom look bad, that's where these sisters get to going crazy. But this family needs to understand, you're going to do a reality show, just accept that the mom was wrong, talk about it, and then move on. Otherwise, it's going to be a constant thing that they come back to on this show.
All the mom had to do in that moment, and I'm about to, because yeah, Nicole did have different energy when she was speaking with Monet. She did, absolutely. But I'm gonna say this: all Joy just had to say was, "Look, I was hurt. That's all this was. I was hurt because I was in love with your father, and I wanted, him to be only with me. So when it came to you, I wanted to put you in my rearview mirror. I realize now." And even, in the circumstances of how you came about that was a wrong decision, and I own that. That's all she had to say. And
Right,
we
just
would be
own it
past
and
this.
move on.
And we would be past this because I know it's her. I know it was her. And that's where I fault him. I fault Bubba because I wouldn't have listened to that shit. me being me, I wouldn't have listened. That means that she ain't the one for me, and I would have cut her loose because you're not gonna make me pick you over my child. It just wouldn't have happened that way, and that's what people are not seeing. Well, at least Monet and maybe a little bit of Nicole too. That's what they're not seeing, and this is why I'm irritated with them both. So, what else happened on the show? Joy won't say that because she still feel, and that's the thing, and that's what that generation did. That's what that generation did a lot of the time. You either was one of two ways. You was either Joy or you was the cleanup woman that just didn't care. And because you love kids so much, you didn't care that your husband had two or three on you. You was gonna take them babies in because you love them and you love kids. That you didn't have to do the work to have them. I know somebody like that. I know somebody whose husband had four kids on her. And she took all four of them in because she loved him so much. She made sure he never did that shit again because she didn't leave him. But she took all she said she has seven kids. She only had three of her own, but he had four on her, and she took all. She said she has seven kids now
I would have
because
been
she loved.
arrested and sentenced to life, probably without the possibility of parole. I would have probably made true crime television. Ain't no way in hell. Ain't
Mhm.
no way on God's green earth. I'm coming after that man if he does that to me. I'm not that strong. Oh no.
Yeah, no, she was a very sweet lady. Like she really was. I trained with her at Discover, and I'll never forget what she was telling me. Yeah, my husband has four children, and I thought she had four children when they met and then they got married and she had three more. But she said no, it was during their marriage. And she said she loved all of the kids. They were sweet kids and everything. And yeah, I don't know if I can do it personally. Like, even one is hard for me to say. It depends on how much I love you. It depends. Because I
I would
can't say,
happily
well,
do the time. That's all I'm saying.
men ain't gonna stay for that shit. Men ain't gonna stay for that shit because we don't require them to. So men, yeah, that's wrong situation. So let's get to this event that Dramisha is holding to pitch this to Granny now. So everybody gets there with the exception of Aunt Charlotte because she's working and Uncle Bubba was working as well. Where the hell does he work? I just want to know. If anybody knows that, put it in my
Why
comments.
is he still working at 74 years old? What is going on?
Yeah, I want to know, where does he work at? Why does he still work? What's going on here? Someone please explain. Because I know a lot of y'all know. I had somebody in my comments last week that knew this family personally. Whoever that person was, whoever you were, I don't remember. I am so sorry. I forget you. But please comment on my channel. What does he do for a living? Because I'm very curious on what that is. But so Jermisha does this very Granny just we know she gonna sell because Aunt Cheryl was sitting there and said, "What you gonna do, Mom? What you gonna do?" She goes, "I want to sell it." But she's gonna entertain Jermisha because she's proud of Jermisha. She really is. You can sit there and look at Granny and say, and she's very proud because they did exactly what they promised them that money was going to do. Because they invested in her and Nicole. So, of course, she's proud. So she's going to sit there, entertain that conversation. Jermisha gives this very holy sermon, and it was like, girl, just get to the point. So she unveils, she has the couple that's going to build the properties unveiled, and they talk about the numbers, they talk about how it's going to look and everything. And not janitorial service, Jim, but any security. Oh my God. That's funny. But and everyone's just sitting there just looking and they all giving Janisha the proud face and everything. And Granny, like she told on sure, I'm going to sell this property. So I feel like Jamisha's way in over her head. And I feel like they're going to try because we see next week they're actually going out to the property to make it more visual for Granny. But I feel like Granny's just gonna sell this property and y'all need to be okay with that. So would you, and I said this in episode either one or two, would you, Nicole, Jaquita, Aunt Nikki, and Monet, what y'all need to do is band together, come up with some money, and buy it off of her. That's what y'all need to do at this point because she wants to sell it. So I would buy it off of her because Jamisha, if you see that vision and you are so confident into it, write Granny the check. Now, I'm not gonna count y'all pockets like that because it's almost giving y'all don't have that kind of money. So, I mean, I'm gonna say allegedly because I don't know what these people got. But I'm just saying, if it means that much to you, buy Granny out. That's all y'all got to do. Give her the appraisal of what she's asking for and sign the check. Because that's what I would do. If I had that much trust in that land that I knew it was going to do all of this, I would buy Granny out. Mrs. Best, how do you feel?
I've been thinking that the whole time. Why don't y'all just buy it from her fair and square? I don't understand why, but it could be a financial thing. They do already have existing mortgages, but yeah, like they just stressing her out. Her mind is made up and she is of sound mind. She wants to sell the land. Let her do what she want with her land. At some point, one of the generations has to come up with their own legacy outside of what they've built, with their grandparents and things of that nature. So start their own legacy, buy the damn land, figure it out.
Yeah, because that's what I would do. I wouldn't even waste my time because she's set on selling it. So my next step is what I need to sell to buy it from her because I see the vision very clearly of what this can do long term. So I'm going to sit up there, make the sacrifice, and buy it. And it's not like it's only Nicole and Jermisha. There's Aunt Nikki, there is Monet, there is Jaquita. I'm sure the five of you can come up with a plan to get money and buy that land off of them. Like I'm sure there's enough for y'all to do that. I'm sure if everyone put in, you know, what would it be like? Maybe 200,000, maybe, or whatever it is, or 150,000. Y'all can get this land, and then y'all all equally own shares of it. There it is. Problem solved. But we'll see what Jermisha does next week with this plan. Because I feel like Granny is like, look, I'm selling it, and that's it. If y'all want it, buy it. But that was the video, y'all. That was it. It was this was one of the most craziest episodes of reality TV I've seen in a very long time. This almost goes to that one Real Housewives of Atlanta episode, that pajama party at that hotel where everybody was fighting and Nene was sashaying in that damn moo she was wearing. But yes, this was a very crazy episode to say the least. Carlos, you got gold with this one. This was really good. This definitely hit home. Like I think a lot of people can relate to all of these people. But that's it. Anything you want to add, Mrs. Best, before we end the live?
No, not at all. It was a very good episode.
Yeah. So you guys, next video that we'll be doing on my channel will be Love and Marriage Huntsville. It's going to be on for me in about an hour or so. So I'm about to catch that. And we will see you guys for that video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to both channels. Any videos or any recaps that I don't do on my channel, Mrs. Best does on her channel. We have a good time on her channel as well because she got a lot of the ratchet shows like Basketball Wives and Love and Hip Hop. So you guys make sure you subscribe to her. We welcome you. If there's any new viewers from me, welcome to my channel. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the video as well, especially if you like what you see. And we will be back, you guys, I believe, tomorrow. So see you next time.